Hello and good evening. You're watching DD News and I'm Gautam Roy. Welcome to India First, your peek into India's strategic environment and its rise in the comity of nations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has thrown the gauntlet down to Pakistan like no other Indian Prime Minister has ever done before. In his third Independence Day address to the nation, the PM not only spoke of Pakistan's terror track record, invoking the poignant memory of the Peshawar school attack, but also referred to the ongoing repression that's going on in Pakistan-controlled territories, which include POK and Balochistan. This marks an unprecedented shift in India's stance vis-a-vis Pakistan, indicating a tougher, tit-for-tat posture over Pakistan's Kashmir rant.
When Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation on the country's 70th Independence Day, it marked a clear departure from his two previous speeches. Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan and Balochistan found a first-time mention in any Indian Prime Minister's speech delivered from the ramparts of the Red Fort. The Prime Minister expressed gratitude to the people of Pak-occupied Kashmir and Balochistan for thanking him for supporting their struggle against Pakistan's de facto and atrocity-driven rule over their territories.
पिछले कुछ दिनों से बलूचिस्तान के लोगों ने, गिलगिट के लोगों ने, पाक ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर के लोगों ने, वहां के नागरिकों ने जिस प्रकार से मुझे बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद दिया है, ऐसे दूर सुदूर बैठे हुए लोग हिंदुस्तान के एक प्रधानमंत्री को अभिनंदन करते हैं, उसका आदर करते हैं, तो मेरे 125 करोड़ देशवासियों का आनंद है.
Prime Minister Modi has mentioned Pak-occupied Kashmir and Balochistan for a second time within a week. The Prime Minister not only declared Pak-occupied Kashmir as part of India during Friday's all-party meet on Kashmir, but also mentioned Pakistan's ongoing repression in Balochistan. This had invoked reactions of praise and pleas of additional support from Baloch leaders and people. Of late, protests against Pak rule in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Balochistan have been intensifying. The Prime Minister also took on Pakistan for glorifying terrorism and said that India will never submit to such tactics. Prime Minister used Red Fort's vantage to give two examples to unmask Pakistan in the world's eyes.
आतंकवाद से मरने वाला पेशावर का बच्चा भी हमें दर्द देता था, दुख देता था. जब आतंकवादियों को ग्लोरीफाई करने का काम हो रहा है, जहां आतंकवादी घटना में निर्दोष लोग मारे जाएं तो जश्न मनाए जाते हैं. ये कैसा आतंकवाद से प्रेरित जीवन है, कैसे आतंकवाद से प्रेरित सरकारों की रचनाएं हैं, ये दो भेद दुनिया भली भांति समझ लेगी, इतना मेरे लिए काफी है.
Without naming Pakistan, the Prime Minister said, instead of fighting with our own that leads to destruction, we need is to fight poverty together to move towards progress. He also appealed to the youth of Kashmir to shun violence and return to the mainstream.
मैं उन नौजवानों को कहना चाहता हूं, ये देश हिंसा को कभी सहन नहीं करेगा. ये देश आतंकवाद को कभी नहीं सहन करेगा. मैं उन नौजवानों को कहता हूं, अभी भी समय है, लौट आइए, अपने मां बाप के सपनों की ओर देखिए, अपने मां बाप की आशा आकांक्षाओं की ओर देखिए, मुख्य धारा में आइए, एक सुख चैन की जिंदगी जिए. हिंसा का रास्ता कभी किसी का भला नहीं करता है.
Clearly, Prime Minister Modi has not only sent a stern, uncompromising message against terror during his Independence Day address, but also told Pakistan that not only will its dirty tactics be laid bare on that account to the world, but also its oppression of its own people if it doesn't work with India for improved ties.
And Prime Minister Modi's mentioning of Baloch cause in his Independence Day address has invoked reactions of gratitude from Baloch leaders. The people of that region have been struggling against Pakistan's oppressive rule for over 65 years. Both in Balochistan and in POK, protests on streets have become a daily occurrence. Let's listen in to what they've said.
I thank Prime Minister Modi Sahib on the behalf of whole Baloch nation, and we hope that the Indian government, Indian media and whole Indian nation will not only raise their voices for Baloch nation, but also strive to help practically the Baloch independence movement.
As India is aspiring to be a permanent member of the UN Security Council, I think Mr. Narendra Modi has proven that it deserves that seat, because India as a regional power should acknowledge the issues happening in its neighborhood. And I think the issue of Balochistan is an issue that needs attention, the world attention, and especially India's attention.
India, as an elder brother of the region, has an obligation to break its silence and held Pakistan accountable for the forced occupation of lands, colonization, and the systematic abuse of human rights in the region.
So Prime Minister Narendra Modi has become the first Indian head of government to back the cause of Pak-controlled regions snatched away from India and beyond in his Independence Day speech. This is a distinct shift in India's response to Pakistan's Kashmir policy. It has delighted those who've been struggling against Pakistan's repression and got the powers that be in Islamabad riled up. Let's talk about India's paradigm shift in tackling Pakistan. We have with us tonight Commodore Uday Bhaskar, Director, Society for Policy Studies. We also have Prasar, former senior diplomat, and DG IDSA. He's been India's ambassador in Kabul as well. So both of you, welcome to India First. First, if I could ask you, Prasar, what do you really make of this shift in India's Pakistan policy? Does it have the potential to make Pakistan change its attitude, the sense of its dealing with India?
In a way, it's a shift. In a way, it's a logical extension of the direction in which policy has been going. And an early indication of this was last year when our foreign minister went to UNGA. And there was some talk from the Pakistani bench there that Kashmir was under foreign occupation. And she said in her response, which was significant, and that really marked the first public indication of a shift in our position, when she said that if Kashmir is indeed under foreign occupation, then that occupier is Pakistan.
Okay.
So what Prime Minister Mr. Modi has done is to mark that, and it's really in a sense going back to the 1994 resolution adopted by the Indian Parliament, which most Indian policymakers seem to have forgotten about, and that is demanding that Pakistan restitutes the territory it has occupied in Jammu and Kashmir.
Well, that's about POK, but now we're talking about Balochistan as well. Do you think this is the right way to go, and if it is, then why did it not happen earlier?
Well, Gautam, I would say that the reference to Balochistan, to me as an analyst, it marks a significant departure. Meaning, if you recall how Balochistan had been addressed in the context of Indian politics and India's Pakistan policy, what comes to mind really is what happened in UPA when Dr. Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister, and we had the Sharm el-Sheikh reference. And the UPA paid a very heavy price, you know, in the diplomatic context.
Yes.
And what struck me this morning when I heard the Prime Minister was the way in which now he's reframed Balochistan. Put the onus on Pakistan. And if you were to look at this as a mind game, it seemed that for all these years and decades, India was on the defensive in relation to Kashmir. So if you game this, it was like a game where there was only one goal post, and that was India was defending the Kashmir goal, whichever fora Pakistan was trying to raise it.
Okay.
So there was no sense that what constitutes a different kind of arrangement whereby you put Pakistan on the defensive or put the onus on them. And I think to me that was what was to me significant, that the Indian Prime Minister speaks from Red Fort and draws attention to what has been happening in Balochistan for the last 6 decades plus, and in a way encouraging the people of Balochistan who have had to live through this oppression to reach out. And the very fact that he in his speech said that people have been thanking him, which you have just shown the viewers, is a very significant departure. Now your point about how effective, how successful this is going to be, I think the next few months will sort of give us an indication that this very assertive articulation about Balochistan to me is a departure. Will it be effective? Will it be successful? Much depends, I think, on the ability of our system to implement whatever be the desired result.
Mr. Prasad, just tell us to what extent is Balochistan really a raw nerve for Pakistan?
It's a raw nerve for Pakistan, simply going back to what Uday said, what Pakistan was able to achieve in 2009 in Sharm el-Sheikh. It shows how Pakistan has obsessed about Balochistan, and at a time when Indian involvement in Balochistan, other than having moral sympathy with those people who were oppressed, was absolutely and has been zero. For them to put Balochistan on the bilateral agenda was a great reversal for India. It was a great reversal for India.
But now that India is backing Balochistan's cause, isn't that the right cause to really back? Because the ground situation in Balochistan merits that sort of a backing, doesn't it?
The ground situation in Balochistan has merited a certain moral backing for the last 6 decades. Balochistan is a part of South Asia which saw independence for 227 days before Pakistan occupied it by force in April 1948. And since then, there have been spades of oppression. Oppression in 48, 52, 53, 57, 58, in the 2000s, the big repression that came in 2006. There have been assassinations, denial of human rights, and precisely...
And many are saying now is an even worse phase.
So
because there are allegations that people are being dropped from helicopters in the middle of nowhere, so that they're simply eliminated, they disappear from the face of the earth.
So what has happened in Balochistan has been very tragic, and India has been uncharacteristically silent on it, because after all, India symbolizes democracy, pluralism, the rule of law, respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms, and we would like to see similar freedoms being preserved in our neighborhood. Now, when Pakistan has been speaking about self-determination, has been speaking about freedom, has been speaking about occupation, it has conveniently not looked at its own backyard, and something that India should have called attention to a long time ago. It is, as Uday says, a marked departure. On the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, the so-called Azad Jammu and Kashmir, there is no significant departure. Policy had already begun moving in that direction, but on Balochistan there is a clear divide and a clear departure. So it has done two things at the same time. It has reversed the compromise made at Sharm el-Sheikh. That is now finished. And the second thing that it has done is it has called attention to Pakistan's empty rhetoric for support of self-determination, freedom, and...
Comrade Bhaskar, now that we have embarked in this direction, how do we build upon it?
Well, I think this is where, as I said, there has to be a clear game plan. When the Indian Prime Minister makes a certain articulation from Red Fort particularly, there is a symbolism. And I imagine that they have already worked out some initial steps. Now, one of the suggestions that the Prime Minister has made is advocacy, reaching out to those who have gone through this extended period of oppression and denial of basic human rights.
Yes, he said that gather information from those who are abroad as well, from these regions.
And encouraged our missions to see how they could enable this particular constituency. So I think the focus is that whether it is POK, Pakistan Occupied Kashmir, or in the Balochistan area, as also I am sure Gilgit-Baltistan will be part of this, the manner in which Pakistan has not only consistently denied basic political rights, but also created conditions wherein there have been excessive human rights violations. Now, if you just look at Balochistan as one, shall we say, case study, it's actually quite extraordinary that in many ways what has happened in Balochistan mirrors the kind of oppression and, frankly, it's a strong word to use on August 15th, the genocide that had been inflicted in East Pakistan, which led to the creation of Bangladesh. So I think that's the contrast, that the world got to know about what happened in East Pakistan after India's own actions at that time in 1970-71. Balochistan, though it has a much smaller demography, it's very interesting. You know, Balochistan is about 45% of Pakistan's current geographical area, yet the population is only about 8 or 9%. And
it has tremendous resources as well. Energy is one.
And that's the other aspect. And I think what the Prime Minister has done is not only Pakistan. To me, as an analyst, there is a China angle also. Now that China has invested the $46 billion, I don't know if the General will agree with this or not, but the OBOR I would say that in a way there is also an embedded kind of signal that if Balochistan is to be as crucial or important to the Chinese aspiration of one belt, one road,
it's in their own interest that it should be conflict free.
And that everyone should become stakeholders in this. Coming back to the basics that he mentioned, that we are talking about the principles and the characteristics associated with India, where human rights and certain fundamental freedoms, as the expression you used, should come back into focus. So that's the innovative part that Mr. Modi has done.
So part of the strategy, of course, is to increase the kind of isolation that Pakistan has been facing internationally. But do you think this could go beyond diplomacy as well?
No, I don't think it will go beyond diplomacy, but the diplomatic arm is a very strong arm of government, and it hasn't been used before, and for the first time it has been activated. I think the fact that we often conflate in India discussions about POK with Azad Jammu and Kashmir, that's not the case. Actually, the territory under Pakistan's control consists of only a small part which has been occupied by it. The large part was annexed by it completely and totally illegally, the territory of Gilgit-Baltistan, which is known as in Pakistan as the Northern Territories. And there the treatment of the people is perhaps arguably even worse. So what Prime Minister Mr. Modi has done is to draw attention especially to the whole of the problem of the territories occupied by Pakistan, including Gilgit-Baltistan. And we will see more of it in the future, because
it's never too late to take up the right cause, and we'll talk about it further in India First, taking a very short break at this point. Stay tuned to the latest.
पंजाब नेशनल बैंक की ओर से आप सभी को भारत के 70वें स्वतंत्रता दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। पंजाब नेशनल बैंक, भरोसे का प्रतीक।
राजनीतिक स्वाधीनता या आजादी तो हमने 70 साल पहले प्राप्त कर ली थी, लेकिन ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की तरह आज भी हजारों विदेशी कंपनियां साबुन, शैम्पू, क्रीम, टूथपेस्ट व कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स आदि बेचकर देश की आर्थिक लूट कर रही है। आइए हम सब देशभक्त भारतीय इस स्वाधीनता दिवस पर पतंजलि के स्वदेश अभियान से जुड़कर देश को आर्थिक लूट व गुलामी से मुक्ति दिलाने का संकल्प लें। वंदे मातरम।
मुथूट फाइनेंस, भारत का नंबर 1 भरोसेमंद फाइनेंस डाइवर्सिफाइड ब्रांड, जो आपको देता है भारत का सबसे बढ़िया गोल्ड लोन, यानी सबसे बढ़िया ब्याज दर, सबसे अधिक लोन राशि, घर बैठे ऑनलाइन गोल्ड लोन की सुविधा, ऑनलाइन इंटरेस्ट का भुगतान करें, कॉल करें 1800-120-2838।
साहब जी, ये हमारा जॉब कार्ड, ये हमारे काम की अर्जी।
ठीक है।
पावती तो दीजिए।
अरे हम पे भरोसा नहीं है क्या?
बात नियम की है साहब जी। पावती नहीं होगी तो पता कैसे चलेगा कि 15 दिन के भीतर हमको काम मिला कि नहीं मिला? और अगर हमको 15 दिन के भीतर काम नहीं मिला तो फिर हमें बेरोजगारी भत्ता कैसे मिलेगा, बताइए जरा।
अच्छा रुको, देता हूँ।
महात्मा गांधी नरेगा,
हक ग्रामीण का, विकास गाँव का।
अब ठीक है।
You stay away from sweets as you are scared of diabetes. You avoid soft drinks because of the calories they bring. You don't touch parathas at all. It's a matter of cholesterol. But when it comes to this, you're absolutely fit. You are great, sir. Say no to black money too. Declare your true income. Income Declaration Scheme. Declare your undisclosed income today. Scheme open up to 30th September 2016. Pay total 45% tax of your undisclosed income declared and enjoy the benefits of several immunities. आप करें योगदान, बढ़ाएं अपना सम्मान।
इस बात को समझ लीजिए कि टीका लगाने के बाद बच्चे को हल्का सा बुखार आ सकता है, हो सकता है थोड़ी सी सूजन भी हो जाए। इस बुखार और दर्द का मतलब है कि टीका अपना काम कर रहा है और बच्चे को जानलेवा बीमारियों से बचा रहा है। वो बच्चा बीमार भी हो तो भी उसे टीके के लिए हर बार ले जाइए। 5 साल 7 बार, छूटे ना टीका एक भी बार।
ये साइड से थोड़े छोटे कर दे जल्दी।
ये वाला सर?
क्या है
सर, ये साइड से?
नहीं, नोज पियर्सिंग यहाँ पे।
परफेक्ट हो जाएगा मैम।
बिल्कुल दर्द नहीं होगा, पता भी नहीं चलेगा।
कुछ ऐसा ही करते हैं आप अपने गियरलेस स्कूटर के साथ। गियरलेस स्कूटर में कोई भी 40 ऑयल नहीं, सिर्फ सर्वो स्कूटोमैटिक 4ST ही डालिए। इसके फ्रिक्शन मॉडिफायर्स इंजन की परफॉर्मेंस बढ़ाए और आपकी राइड स्मूदर बनाए। सर्वो स्कूटोमैटिक 4ST।
I fire hard and I fire strong. I like solving problems. Facing an enemy at a higher position is a problem. Being 2 points down is a problem. And the bigger the problem, the sweeter the victory. What do I like more? Going to battle or firing my pistol? I like the fact that I do both for India.
We are India's most exciting workplace and we are making you an offer. The Indian Army. Live a life less ordinary.
राजनीतिक स्वाधीनता या आजादी तो हमने 70 साल पहले प्राप्त कर ली थी, लेकिन ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की तरह आज भी हजारों विदेशी कंपनियां साबुन, शैम्पू, क्रीम, टूथपेस्ट व कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स आदि बेचकर देश की आर्थिक लूट कर रही है। आइए हम सब देशभक्त भारतीय इस स्वाधीनता दिवस पर पतंजलि के स्वदेश अभियान से जुड़कर देश को आर्थिक लूट व गुलामी से मुक्ति दिलाने का संकल्प लें। वंदे मातरम।
मुथूट फाइनेंस, भारत का नंबर 1 भरोसेमंद फाइनेंस डाइवर्सिफाइड ब्रांड, जो आपको देता है भारत का सबसे बढ़िया गोल्ड लोन, यानी सबसे बढ़िया ब्याज दर, सबसे अधिक लोन राशि, घर बैठे ऑनलाइन गोल्ड लोन की सुविधा, ऑनलाइन इंटरेस्ट का भुगतान करें, कॉल करें 1800-120-2838।
राजनीतिक स्वाधीनता या आजादी तो हमने 70 साल पहले प्राप्त कर ली थी, लेकिन ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की तरह आज भी हजारों विदेशी कंपनियां साबुन, शैम्पू, क्रीम, टूथपेस्ट व कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स आदि बेचकर देश की आर्थिक लूट कर रही है। आइए हम सब देशभक्त भारतीय इस स्वाधीनता दिवस पर पतंजलि के स्वदेश अभियान से जुड़कर देश को आर्थिक लूट व गुलामी से मुक्ति दिलाने का संकल्प लें। वंदे मातरम।
You stay away from sweets as you are scared of diabetes. You avoid soft drinks because of the calories they bring. You don't touch parathas at all. It's a matter of cholesterol. But when it comes to this, you're absolutely fit. You are great, sir. Say no to black money too. Declare your true income. Income declaration scheme. Declare your undisclosed income today. Scheme open up to 30th September 2016. Pay total 45% tax of your undisclosed income declared and enjoy the benefits of several immunities. आप करें योगदान, बढ़ाएं अपना सम्मान।
The New India Assurance Company Limited, India's premier multinational general insurance company, wishes all Indians across the world a very happy Independence Day.
मुथूट फाइनेंस, भारत का नंबर 1 भरोसेमंद फाइनेंस डाइवर्सिफाइड ब्रांड, जो आपको देता है भारत का सबसे बढ़िया गोल्ड लोन, यानी सबसे बढ़िया ब्याज दर, सबसे अधिक लोन राशि, घर बैठे ऑनलाइन गोल्ड लोन की सुविधा, ऑनलाइन इंटरेस्ट का भुगतान करें, कॉल करें 1800-120-2838।
आने वाली पीढ़ियों के लिए कर रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता के मूल्यों का पोषण। LIC की ओर से हर भारतीय को स्वतंत्रता दिवस की शुभकामनाएं।
Welcome back. We're talking about Prime Minister Modi's unprecedented move to take up the issue of Balochistan and all those territories that Pakistan has forcibly occupied in his Independence Day speech to what is being seen as a way to counter Pakistan's Kashmir rant, and we have Commodore Uday Bhaskar and Jayant Prasad with us to talk about it. Now that specifically if we take up this strategy, this shift, what can India really do to make sure that it has the desired result?
For one, we should flag Pakistani repression, the fact that so many Baloch leaders have been done in, have been killed, the fact that Pakistan has assiduously promoted in that region religious fanaticism and radicalism.
Okay.
The Quetta Shura is based in the capital of Balochistan. The fact that Balochistan has the lowest human development indicators in Pakistan. And finally, the fact that media is not free over there. One thing which we absolutely should not do is do what Pakistan does, which is to become the exporter of terrorism, the exporter of IEDs, of bomb-making materials, and of propaganda.
No, that's not part of our ethos.
That's something that we have never done in the past, and we should never do in the future.
But Commodore Bhaskar, there are people who are saying that we shouldn't be doing this. POK is our business, but Balochistan is not. You think this line of thinking or strategy has now outlived itself by date?
No, I would not agree with that, because I think, as we discussed earlier, in the current context, I think Prime Minister Modi has taken a very bold step, which is to, in a way, hoist Pakistan, if you will, on its own petard, which is to say, to the extent that they have been trying to create a narrative about India in relation to Kashmir. The reality is that they have done worse in terms of how they have treated people both in Balochistan, denied citizenship. We spoke about Gilgit-Baltistan and other parts of Pakistan. But I think, this is a political decision that has been taken by India. I believe it was long overdue, that Balochistan expected that this kind of moral and diplomatic and political support would be extended by India, but for a variety of reasons there was a certain degree of reticence as far as previous governments were concerned. What we can do, and I think this is where the Modi government is going to be on test, is how do we ensure that the accurate and factual narrative is brought into the public domain, which means can India enable the Baloch story through its existing soft power options. For instance, create a forum. The reality of Balochistan, which Pakistan has effectively and successfully suppressed, can we use social media? Can we have other outlets so that the Baloch story comes into the public domain? And India's greatest asset in terms of soft power is Indian films. To date, we have not had the equivalent of a holistic story about Balochistan, including the 227 days that you speak about, where Balochistan was an independent entity from August 1947 all the way down.
I think the Baloch leader also spoke about
exactly when they were here recently. But this comes episodically. We need something which would really capture not only the story of Balochistan, but package it and convey it not only to the whole region, but to the whole world.
And lastly, of course, people always wonder what is going to happen between India and Pakistan as far as talking peace is concerned, because but that is not an option right now because of the kind of stand that Pakistan has taken, is it?
Well, there again there is a shift in policy which is long coming, and we can see it very clearly now. Again, it's a reversal of sorts of Sharm el-Sheikh, where the track of what Pakistan would do on terrorism was detached from our composite dialogue. There was a clear affirmation there that irrespective of what happens on terrorism, we would continue to talk with Pakistan. I don't think there is stomach in the country, in the strategic community, among the political elite to pursue that line anymore. And the natural consequence of that you see in Mr. Modi's policies.
And then we'll have to wait and see what sort of results emerge as far as this new strategy is concerned. We'll of course be talking about that in the future as well. Thanks a lot for joining us for the time being. That's it for the moment in India First. We'll have to wait and see how this change of track in tackling Pakistan really bears out for India and its foreign policy. For the moment, thanks for watching.